update on Debo
Oh yeah,
Samuel's
I got
health and
injuries for today.
well,
Ayuk's questionable, Garland's questionable, Debo will be out, and Verrett's out.
and then Kyle, in
Coleman
regards to
Coleman
Debo,
missed today. It wasn't injury related.
and then in regards to Debo, why not just put him on injured reserve so you can practice him up the next couple of weeks before he would debut in week 4?
Because we believed he had a good chance to play this week. It didn't go the way we hoped, but it'll still be day to day going on that next week. We felt there was a chance, so to make a decision that would be 3 weeks when we thought he did have a chance, we didn't think that would be very smart. But we'll see how next week goes.
Kyle, how
Oh, and
close were you
also as something with the rules that because it happened before training camp started, which is considered non-football injury. All right, there was some reason we couldn't do that either. So
Kyle, how close were you to having to tweak
Can you turn
the
that up a
schedule? How close were you to having to tweak the schedule today because of the smoke? And what is your level of concern for Sunday in that regard?
we didn't have to tweak it. We would have if it got to 200, but it didn't. So people with pre-existing conditions today, they couldn't practice with it being just past 150. If it happens Sunday, I mean, my understanding is if it gets to 200, that's when the NFL will start really discussing what to do with the game. I don't think that's my decision at all. I know it's not, thank goodness. So we'll just see what happens. Hopefully it won't get there. Hopefully it'll be safe. But got to see what the wind does.
Kyle, several of your players spoke about being very disciplined this week, and that was a focus. Was that one of your messages going forward this week, looking at facing a mobile quarterback?
Hold on, Jennifer.
Just
Hey, folks, can you speak up to help us because the sound in the room is too low for some reason.
Hi, Kyle. Several of your players spoke about being very disciplined this week. That was a focus. Was that a message going forward just for week 1, or just because you're playing against Kyler, or just kind of a message just to get everybody going for the beginning of the season?
I mean, it's always a message, but I think, going against a player like Kyler, having the first week of the season, I think everything's even heightened even more on that. Guys are fired up; they're ready to play. But you got to go out there and make sure you execute. And we haven't been out there yet, neither have they. So you're going to see that stuff to me a lot around the league. So guys no matter how excited you are to play, you got to make sure you lock into doing your job, doing your assignment. Both of those things don't always go hand in hand, and it takes both of those things to be successful, but sometimes they can contradict each other. So I know the excitement's there. I know the guys should be ready to go, but you can't lose track of thinking that's all that you got to worry about. You got to be locked in. There's a lot of assignments that you got to do to execute this stuff. And usually if both teams are playing really hard, which I fully expect, the team that executes better will win.
Kyle, I think there had been a contingency to play the game in Arizona to swap the games with the Cardinals. The fact that the NFL hasn't done that, does that signal that you guys are optimistic that the weather conditions will improve by Sunday? And if the answer is no, what would the contingency be at that point?
I'm not sure. I don't try to worry about things I'm not involved in, so I'm just trying to get our team ready to play this game. I'm sure that the NFL has had discussions with other people, not any coaches, I don't think, not Cliff or I. So we're just getting ready for this game. If it is at 200, I know that's when they'll decide whether we play or not, how to go forward with that, but I'm not really sure of the contingency plans.
Hey, Kyle. You've made it pretty clear in the past that you support NFL athletes on a lot of the social justice measures that have been in the news. And I'm just wondering now, as the season starts, it's still in the news, but is that another thing that you try to put out of your mind? How do you approach it as the head coach? And does your team specifically have anything planned for Sunday?
I don't think, they haven't mentioned anything to me about having anything planned. I think they're going to do what they've always done. But you'd have to ask them individually. I know as a team we're not planning anything, but individuals might have something planned, however they want to handle the situation. I think that is more of an individual thing personally. But no, it's been our team's I think we've dealt with this since I've been here, and I know they've dealt with it before I got here. And it's never been a problem for our organization. It's never been a problem for any of our coaching staff. It's never been a problem for our players. So whatever they decide to do this weekend as an individual, whatever I decide to do, whatever anyone does is their prerogative. That really has nothing to do to me with our job or the game that's going on. That has to do with what people think and how they feel on the inside.
Hey, Kyle, with Debo being out, with Brandon and Garland being questionable, do you anticipate making any moves by tomorrow, 1 p.m., to bring guys up from the practice squad?
It's some things we can discuss. I mean, there's always a possibility. I mean, with Garland and Ayuk being questionable, we got to be ready to do something depending on that. So we'll see how that goes. We do have till that time. It might take us all the way till game time to decide if they can go or not, because they are that close to doing it. They also have been prepared in camp and done enough stuff to be ready, which is a little different than how Debo is. But we'll see. I mean, if we know for sure that they're not going earlier, we'll probably have to do something. And if we still won't know, we might still have to do something just to have that just in case when it comes on Sunday.
Hey, Kyle, if the air quality doesn't change significantly, I would assume is Tevin's status for the game in question?
Well, yeah, Tev, I mean, that's why he didn't go out there today. Just taking a precautionary decision to help him for Sunday. I know when it is up to 150, that's when it can affect some people with different conditions. So that's something that Tevin, it'll be a personal decision when he gets there. It's not just an automatic no, similar to when you play in high altitude and stuff like that. It's not an automatic no. That's stuff you got to discuss with the doctor and be comfortable with. Dealing with oxygen tanks and things there can help. But talking to Tevin, I've been through some situations with him before, dealing with things like playing in Denver and stuff. And Tevin will do what's right for him, what's safe. I know he's going to want to play extremely hard and be out there. I know that it kills him not to be, but I also know Tevin will make the right decision, and I know our doctors will help him with that.
You had mentioned previously that Brandon Ayuk, given his preparation and how he came into camp from a mental perspective, could probably handle, playing despite missing some time. But when he has an injury and he only has 2 days of practice, what's your process in making that determination in terms of how much to put on his plate if he is healthy enough to play?
Yeah, my process is different with each individual. Kind of depends on how I feel about the individual and what they can handle, what they can do with the limited reps. One good thing is we usually don't let guys come back and put them in practice until they've had a few healthy days before that. So it means he's going in the right direction. It means he probably, right now, I feel he could get through it. We just got to decide on what that risk is, and that'll be something that you constantly talk to the trainers about. But it's also at this point something that we got to keep really talking to Brandon about. But we'll make sure that we do what's best for him.
Hey, Kyle, are you curious to see how Arizona uses Isaiah Simmons on Sunday, given his versatility, and obviously you haven't seen him play since Clemson?
Yeah, I mean, definitely curious about a lot of things, as I'm sure they're curious about a lot of things too. You kind of get an idea about everything just watching preseason tape a little bit, and none of us have that for the first time. So there's a lot of things like that we all want to think about and talk about, and I'm sure everyone's discussing outside of here also, but we're not going to find that out till Sunday, and once we do it, I think it'll be pretty evident, and then you'll know how to adjust.
Kyle, Chandler Jones has been doing it for a long time at a high level, maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves. What is it that makes him so good and so hard to deal with?
A number of things. It starts with he's a freak, just talent-wise. Just like his brother is, watching him fight. I mean, they're tall, long guys with the right mentality to play football. I also think he's an extremely smart player. Going against him over the years, he recognizes plays. He plays very hard. He's very unpredictable. He's got the athletic ability to kind of freelance, but he kind of freelances a little bit, but still tries to find a way to play within the scheme. You can tell it's when you have a smart guy like that who's also a smart football player who's extremely talented. It doesn't shock you at all why I think he's gotten more sacks than anyone here over the last few years.
Kyle, when you talk to your coordinators about how to approach Sunday's game, do you see a scenario where, because of all these unknowns, that you guys might use 3 timeouts in the first quarter just to make adjustments from things that you didn't, you weren't sure that the Cardinals would show you?
No, I don't think that'll really will happen with timeouts or anything. I worry about the timeouts using it with just being rusty and getting in and out of the huddle, substitutions and stuff where you can get caught where it looks like a certain personnel's on the field and we send in a personnel and you have the wrong one and then it's past 15 seconds on the play clock, so I can't talk to Jimmy then, or Saleh can't talk to Fred, and that's when it kind of messes stuff up because you got the wrong stuff in there, and you get better at that throughout reps and everything and going through it fast, but there will be some I keep telling everyone wants to know if we're ready to play. I promise everyone's ready to play. But it's the execution of the things that the players got to do on the field, the execution of the things that the coaches have to do. Those are the things that sometimes when you're not as quick with it or you hesitate a little bit, you got to decide whether you want to use a timeout and burn it, or if you just want to take that 5 yards. And, we usually decide that in the heat of battle, and it depends on the situation. But hopefully everything will go perfect, which I never count on.
All right, thanks, folks.
All right, guys, thanks.
Hey, Mike, not sure if you watched last night's game, but it seemed like defensive lines just took advantage of the lack of crowd noise to get off the ball. So do you kind of have to be aware of that for facing potential snap jumpers this season?
Well, actually, I think that it plays to our advantage with no crowd noise, especially if you're going the road. Offensive lineman, it's a tough deal when you don't have the snap count and you can't hear your quarterback, so you have to go on a steady thing all day so that you can keep it uniform so that everybody can get their timing right for the whole play. But when you're able to use the snap count, you got to be able to change it up, go on do different types of things to get us to make sure the defense is on their heels a little bit. So I think that the lack of crowd noise actually plays to an offensive lineman's advantage if you're disciplined enough to use the cadence.
And Mike, given all the continuity you guys have up front for the most part, and just given how you were able to mix up the things you were able to do in the running game last year, whether it be outside zone or incorporating more power, can that be something that you guys can lean on early in the season, given that you did have less practice time than normal, and is it something that you feel confident about in terms of being the foundation of the offense?
Yeah, I think that it's obviously it's huge. We have a bunch of guys coming back in prominent role in almost every role on our offensive side of the ball. So I think it definitely gives us a little bit of an advantage by not having to teach everyone everything and relearn everything. And I think we have guys that can come in, and the guys that are new have been able to come in and plug and play right away, which has been huge for us. I think the continuity that we have in this building, the amount that our front office was able to keep together after such a great season last year is really hard to do. And I think that we have a huge advantage going forward this season because of that. And the lack of practice time, I don't think it's ever going to be a problem. I think everybody's going to be a professional about it. Guys can, knock the rust off pretty fast. And I think you're going to see some good football here, even starting in week 1.
Mike, Horonis Grasu got there on August 20th, and with Ben being questionable in this game, how confident are you? What have you seen from Grasu that would enable him to step in and perhaps play a lot of meaningful snaps on Sunday?
Horonis has been awesome. He's been great ever since he's gotten here. He's taken our offense in stride, and obviously as the center, you have to be able to command everything out there. And he's done an unbelievable job as he's been in there with us for that. So whether it's Ben, whether it's him, I don't think we're going to skip a beat. Horonis is a great football player, a really tough fighter, and he's going to be great for us when his time comes. He's been a great fit in our O-line room. He's got great ability, and he's gonna be fine if his time does come to play on Sunday.
Two more for Mike.
Hey, Mike, with everything that's gone on in this offseason, does this week 1 feel any differently let me start that over. Does this week 1 feel any differently mentally than it has in the past?
Yeah, it's a little more unassuming. It's a little more like, holy crap, it's game week. It just kind of came up on you. It snuck up on you a little bit more than normal. Normally you have things that happen, you have an off season in April, May, and June to get prepared without, necessarily the high pressure of the season coming. And then you have training camp and the preseason games, and it's all kind of a gradual build-up to everything that you work for, which is the regular season. And I think it just came on a little quicker this year. It's a little more unassuming because there wasn't the build-up to get there. But once we got through, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, it started to feel like a real game week again. And I think everybody's really ready to go.
Hey, Mike, I don't know if it's likely, but I guess it's possible that Isaiah Simmons could take a few snaps lined up against you or Trent or wherever. What do you know about him, and kind of what's the scouting report, what you may see on Sunday?
Well, he's obviously an incredible athlete. I haven't seen any film of him other than going up against college guys, which is, always presents a little bit of a challenge, especially if a guy's that talented like he is. Obviously, he's a guy that can be used all over, so you're not really sure what their plan is for him. But he's a talented guy, and he's capable to do just about anything on a football field, which is pretty impressive. And so he's a player that they drafted there to be a big stalwart in their defense, and I don't know what his role is going to be, whether it's pass rush, whether it's linebacker, or even I think the kid can even play safety too, which is pretty wild. So he's kind of the total package, and we'll see on Sunday what they want to do with him, and we'll be ready for everything.
Mike, Kyle was just in there talking about how it's important for y'all to stay focused because you haven't had the preseason, just kind of the excitement of finally getting on the field to play your first game. How are you guys kind of dialing in and making sure you stay focused without like losing the excitement, kind of finding that balance?
Well, yeah, it's just that gradual build up for every week. Wednesday you have to really dial in mentally. Everything's going in, the whole playbook's going in, and then Thursday you dial it back down and get a little bit to more specific stuff. And by today, we install the last couple packages that you need here and there, and you're fine tune on the game plan. And then you just the rest of the weekend until the game comes is taking care of your body, going over your notes, going over your film, whatever you need to do to get yourself ready to go. And it's just about that gradual build-up emotionally that, the football week kind of always has. And we have a lot of great pros in our building. Everybody's going to be, as prepared as ever to get going and get ready to play. And it's just about, I don't think focus or lack of intensity is going to be a problem for this group. I'm pretty confident in that.
The last one for Mike.
Hey, Mike, yesterday, Richard Sherman was talking about how important it is for him to always be learning, even from his younger teammates, guys that, would seem to be learning from him all the time, but he kind of flips it. I'm just curious. I know you had a locker next to him for a while there. I don't know if you still do, but what have you seen from him in terms of him maybe sidling up to younger guys, even someone such as yourself, and trying to continue to learn and grow in the game?
Well, Sherman, he's a student of the game, and that's why he is who he is. I mean, he's never a guy that's approached the game like he's got it figured out. He always knows that every day he steps into the building, he's got to get better at something, and he's so on task with everything that he does, whether it's his film work, his study work, communicating with his teammates and coaches. I mean, there's nobody that I've ever been around that's as good of a professional, I think, as Richard Sherman is. And for a guy that's, pretty much already punched his ticket to Canton, Ohio, to have that mentality every single day, and to still be able to give everything he has, not only playing as hard as he can, but bringing his teammates along with him is just as impressive as anything else that he's ever done, in my opinion. I know I've gotten really close to Richard. He's a good friend of mine, and he's an open phone and open door policy anytime you need him. And not only stuff like, obviously I play offensive line and he plays cornerback, and there's not much, takeaway on our football games, but the things that he teaches you about how to be a teammate, how to be a professional, how to be a leader, and those kinds of things, you can take from him, until he's out of this building, which hopefully isn't for a while. So it's Sherm's an unbelievable guy to be around, an unbelievable resource, and obviously, his football game speaks to itself.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Go Irish this weekend.
Ready for juice when you guys are. Let's do it.
Hey, Kyle, last year the Cardinals, weren't a great team. They only won 5 games. but they did play you guys really tough twice. So what is it about that matchup that last year gave you guys some problems?
Yeah, Kyle made a point of it today. We went through a bunch of really impressive stats of what we did as a team running the ball last year, all these different records we set, all this, our averages per game, averaging 200 yards per game in the playoffs, all that kind of things. But he kind of summed it all up with, well, Arizona only knows us as the team that ran for, I think, 100 yards in the first game against them and like 30 yards against them in the second game. So they don't look at us as the team that, had 3 different running backs that averaged like 6 yards per carry and all that kind of stuff. They see us as a team that they were able to kind of shut down in the run game, and a team that they played very well against. So we just feel like they did a good job of, moving guys around a lot, bringing a lot of pressure, that sort of thing, and kind of moving guys off the rules. So they had a good game plan for us in both matchups, but we're looking to fare a little bit better this time.
Kyle, given the lack of preseason and the truncated training camp, it would seem to me, at least, that timing in the passing game might be difficult to come by early on in the season. Do you think that's true? And also, is the fact that you guys work so well as a group in the running game, can that be an asset to you guys early in the season from that standpoint?
Yeah, definitely. As far as the timing in the pass game, I think any time you start the season off, it might not be at the same level it is towards the end of the year. But as far as no preseason games and the kind of abbreviated preseason, all that kind of stuff, I think really we did such a good job of making up for those game reps with these inter squad scrimmages that we did. They really were full speed, simulated like a game, and I mean, it felt like a game rep. So I think Coach did a really good job of mixing those in and getting guys those game reps and getting that feel of, what it's going to be like when live bullets are flying. But I think you're absolutely right with being able to lean on our run game early on, because that's something that we're bringing a lot of guys back from last year, that there's a lot of continuity. Guys have been, in this offense for a while, and we have a really good feel for the run game. So that's something that we felt like we were strong at, the first day we got here for camp.
Hey, Kyle. I hope this question doesn't catch you off guard at all, but I'm wondering, in your mind, what a white teammate can do to support Black athletes at this moment in time.
I think as a white, teammate myself, I feel like anytime I can just echo the message that one of my Black teammates is putting out there and support whatever he's saying, I think that can go a long way. Just when people see it coming from me as a white man and repeating what my Black teammates are saying or supporting what they're saying and, adding on to what they're saying, I think anything like that really goes a long way, just coming from myself.
Kyle, you mentioned that, you guys hit the running game strong right when you first came in. A new element that you have into your group right now is Jerick McKinnon. I mean, how does that change the chemistry? What have you been able to see him do since he's been out there? I mean, obviously he's chomping at the bit to get out there.
Yeah. I'm so happy for Jet. He's overcome so much. I can't imagine how hard these past 2 years have been for him to have to sit and, watch what we've been doing and knowing what a big part he could have been. And man, I think he's going to have such a phenomenal year. I think we lost Breida, and I think Jet's going to step right in there, and it's going to be a really smooth transition. And smooth is like the way I describe Jet. Everything he does out there just looks smooth. Run game, pass game. So I think he's going to add just another dimension to our offense, another guy that we can rely on. And, one good thing that can be said is that, he might not have played the last 2 years and withstood the physical wear and tear, but he's been in meetings. He's been on the sidelines. He's been very involved. So it's not like this is his first time out there running this offense. Like, he's been through this a million times in his head already. So I feel like he's ahead of the curve there.
2 more for Kyle?
Hey, Kyle, you've been around here the last few years and been able to practice amid the smoke and learn about air quality indexes like we all have. Is there more concern right now than there has been in those past times? And just what's it been like out of practice?
Yeah, I never knew what an AQI index was, or I might be repeating with the I there, but never really got into that before. That's been something very interesting that we've had to deal with out here. But the thing about it is, like, you really can't get too concerned about it because there's literally nothing you can do for it. You know, there's nothing that we can do to help lower that number or to change it. So it's just kind of one of those things you got to roll with and deal with in the moment.
Kyle McGlinchey just said that the beginning of the week had a little bit of a holy crap, it's game week vibe to it. But as the week went on, that changed. Did you feel that? And when did that change for you?
I felt it as a more of an excitement, like more of like, yes, like holy crap, now this is real. Now this is where we get to do what we do. So I've felt just the energy and the excitement from the beginning of the week, and I know guys are just chomping at the bit. And it's always tough, you've been fired up, putting in all this work during the week, and then end of Friday you start to kind of like gear things down, but you're just ready to go on Sunday. So you got to remind yourself that you got to take these next 2 days to get your body right, because we've put in all the work. Now it's really just mental stuff, and then on Sunday you got to turn that switch back on again, and it's full go.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
Yep. Thanks, guys.